burlap in my mouth. Get out of my mouth. What's up, guys? Welcome back to what is now almost 31 Days of Halloween. Obviously, I failed at 31 Days of Halloween, and that is because 1, I did not pre-film enough. 2, all I was doing the entire day, each and every day, was editing. I didn't eat, I barely slept, it was very unhealthy, so we're converting to almost 31 days. I'm still going to be doing as many as I can, but my health is my #1 priority, so this is secondary to me eating and sleeping and being healthy. Anyways, in this video, I'm going to be going over this really creepy scarecrow. I don't know how this looks on camera because I can hardly see, but in person, it looks really cool because it's all 3-dimensional and bumpy and woo! It also is really fun to, pet. That's weird. Let's get started. So to start, I am applying Vaseline over my eyebrows just so they don't get ripped out by the latex later on. Then, using a wedge sponge, I'm applying some liquid latex to my forehead, then applying a piece of unrolled cotton onto that, and then covering that piece with more latex. You don't have to completely soak it, just make sure that the top layer is completely coated. This is the start of us redefining our features to make them a lot more defined and creepier. Then I'm adding some more cotton over the top of that and covering that also in latex. Now with this entire cotton and latex build portion of this tutorial, you have complete freedom to do whatever you want. I wanted to make my scarecrow a bit scarier, so I gave it more of an angry, furrowed brow, but you can do something different if you want. And you can build it up as big or as small as you want. I probably could have gone even larger with this build, but by the time I was getting done with this, it was like 3 a.m., so I was ready for bed. But the larger you build it up, the more defined the features will be under the burlap later. So keep that in mind when you're creating the features. Because I wanted the eye sockets to be rather defined, I also went around the underside of my eye as well, just to further hollow them out. As you move on to different features and other ones dry, you can put some burlap over the top of them to kind of see how the shapes will form underneath it and whether or not you need to add more cotton and latex. For the mouth, I definitely should have added more cotton and latex, but I was really tired at this point, and because of that, the mouth on my cute little scarecrow isn't as defined as I wish it would have been, but it can still be seen, so I'm okay with that. If you have a face cast, it would be so much easier to build this up on that and then transfer it onto your face like a mask. However, I did it on my face rather than my cast because I wanted to show that even large builds you can do on yourself. It just takes a little bit longer to dry. Then once the latex was dry, I moved on to the paint job. And this was a very, very rough paint job. I didn't know how much of the color would show through the burlap, so I just wanted to roughly cover all my bases. So with the brown cream paint, I am filling in basically any part of my skin that's still exposed. So that includes my eyes, my nose, the edges and corners of the mouth, and then I switched to a dark red and filled in the center, although I kind of wish I just left it all brown and black, but it's fine, it's no big, you can't really see it anyways. And then I was really lazy and didn't want to get my spray bottle from downstairs, so I started using the cream paints on the latex itself, but that was taking way too long to do because you had to get into all of the cracks and crevices, which is way easier with water-based. So about halfway done with the face, I finally caved and went downstairs and got my spray bottle so I could use the water-activated paints because creams are a pain in the ass for covering large things that are covered in cotton and latex. Like I said before, I didn't know how much of this was going to be seen, so I did some really rough contouring. Like, this looks really bad, and I know that, but I also knew it was not going to be seen, so I was cool with it. So I just went around and deepened up all the places that would have shadows. First, I went in with a brown, and then I switched to a black, because black just looks better as shadows, let's be honest. Then, once I was painted to look like a really failed, sad clown, I started on the burlap, finally. So here I'm just mapping out how big of a mouth it is, cutting the piece up, and then laying down some latex and gluing that into place. And I'm trying my best to really press it onto the cotton and latex so the shape really stays indented. Then I cut the very bottom just so it could glue down under my chin a little bit easier and glued that down with some more latex. Then I just kept adhering things down with latex. This whole process is incredibly simple, just rather time consuming. I then cut off any excess burlap on the top and then glued down those extra bits. I cut out 2 separate pieces for each eye and glued those in, again really pressing it onto the cotton and latex, just make sure that indent would be present. And then I did the same to the other side. I didn't try to make these pieces of burlap look symmetrical at all. I wanted this to look like a thrown together scarecrow that was kind of rugged, so that's why. I then filled in my nose with some black water-activated body paint. Then using strings I pulled out of the excess burlap, I glued those across my nose to kind of look like stitch marks, I guess, sort of. And while I couldn't see super well, I did see that the indents weren't showing up on camera like they were in person, so I went in and darkened them up using a brown water-activated body paint. So I did that on the mouth and also the eyes. Then I also threw that on each edge of the burlap just to help define those pieces and dirty them up a little bit. Then, using some more latex, I took a stray piece of burlap, glued that to my neck, then tied this bunched up piece of burlap around my neck, and that was bunched up by just pulling one of these center strings. Then I threw on a really messy black wig, and then I darkened up the eye sockets with some black, as well as the mouth, and also the edges, just because I felt like the brown wasn't really doing it. And to be honest, I probably could have definitely darkened all of this up even more, but I was a little bit nervous about going too hard on the shadows because I couldn't see very well. If you have someone around that could help you and tell you how dark to do it, that would be prime. Add on a flannel and you are a fucking creepy scarecrow. So that was it for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and if you want to, feel free to subscribe to see the rest of these Halloween videos, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!